welcome to the Courage Economy podcast. I'm Thane Belomo, your host. Um, Today, we're going to be obviously talking about the Courage Economy, talking about the lie economy, and today I want to focus a little bit on important work. So, the lie economy, as we've talked about, is the aggregation of the small lies that occur across all organizations. And those lies are typically not malicious in nature, they are merely less costly than telling the truth. And the lies I'm talking about are not maybe the lies that you would think of, right? You would think of a blatant sort of malicious lie. Those do happen, obviously, and we've seen that. But typically, the lies that we're talking about are the little lies, the half truths, the white lies, the fibs. Um, Things like, nope, you're not going to get promoted because you need a little bit more leadership presence. But the fact is they think you're weird and you're never going to get promoted. Or, sorry, we don't have the budget for that right now. But they do, just not for what you want it for. Or the deadline is mission critical for next Friday, and then you miss the deadline and nothing happens. Or this thing we're doing is mission critical, transformational, and then you put in a lot of effort to do it and nothing changes and nothing happens. So all of these lies or misdirections or in modern parlance, misinformation, disinformation across the organization create an organizational drag. They create a situation where not only people can't figure out what's true and what's not true, they calculate what is safe and what's not safe. And that results in lower trust, less effective decision making, lower velocity of decision making, lower levels of innovation. In this sea of lies that people are navigating through, and we all know them, right? We all call them office politics or just this is the way it works. That's not the way it has to work. That's the way it typically does work. And my job is to try to get people to move from that lie economy to a courage economy. A courage economy is a place where the truth is less costly than a lie. The truth is the rational choice. The truth, like, I'm sorry, we don't have the budget for that because X, Y, and Z. Or we do have the budget for it, but not for you, and here's why. Or you're not going to get promoted because, frankly, you lack X, Y, and Z. Or you're not going to get promoted because we just sort of feel like you're not the right kind of personality we want in a leadership role. And when they ask, well, why is that? Well, here's are the specific behaviors that we observe, and that's why you're not going to get promoted. And if you could change those behaviors, then potentially you could be promoted. But instead of saying that is the safe and rational thing to say, instead of, well, you just need some more leadership presence, and go get an executive coach, and then maybe we'll promote you then, right? So, level setting on what a lie economy is. And a courage economy is the inverse, the opposite of a lie economy. So how do you do that, right? I talk about the lie economy a lot, and the reaction is like, okay, I'll accept that we live in a lie economy. Maybe I don't accept that we can change it, but how would you suggest we change it, Thane? What do you suggest that we do differently? Well, I have a plan. There is a way to do this. And honestly, the impetus for this, or the real life example of this, I worked in the nuclear industry in organizational development and executive coaching for about 12 years. Highly regulated, critical infrastructure, a place where when things go wrong, really, really bad things can happen. So in that environment, there's two means of operation. There's online, meaning that the reactor is running and power is being produced, and the work done on the site is to keep the reactor running. So it's like we got to keep the train running. two, 4 weeks out of the year, there's a different kind of operation. That's called the outage. The outage is the refueling outage. They have to shut the entire plant down and bring in new fuel for the reactor, so new fresh uranium. And while the plant is shut down, they do work on the plant that can't be done when the reactor is running for a bunch of various safety reasons. So they plan for 2 years for this outage. Hundreds, there's about 1,000 people that populate the typical nuclear power plant, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. During outage, there's like another 1,000 people come on site to help get all this work done. It's 24/7. Work doesn't stop until the outage is completed. The project plan, as I said, takes 2 years to create. It is a ballet of work, is how I can put it. It's actually pretty amazing to watch. During online operations, a nuclear power plant, as critical as it is, still exhibits behaviors, attributes, and behaviors associated with a lie economy. Keeping the trains running on time is not enough to stop people from lying, frankly, from jockeying for position and prestige, from trying to get their position adopted, right, as opposed to the outcome that we want. So all this sort of human jockeying goes on during online operations, maybe less than other organizations whose work is less critical. But during an outage, everything changes. The work is simply too important. It's too critical to tolerate lies. The people involved in the outage care deeply about its success. It has to be on time. It has to be at least on budget. It has to happen with zero safety incidents. It has to happen with zero radiation exposures. It has to happen with zero human performance errors. The work is so critically important that lies cannot be tolerated. You can't deal in half-truths. You can't deal in fibs and white lies. And whatever euphemism you want to come up with is not acceptable during an outage, and everybody knows it. In an outage, typically a nuclear power plant is maximally truth-telling. And it has to be, because the work is that important. Because the work is so important, people will not tolerate foolishness. They will not tolerate the bullshittery that happens in almost all organizations all the time. And so as I watched this over years, and sort of linking that up with everything else I've learned over my 25 years in organizational development, organizations that run on a courage economy where truth is the rational choice are typically organizations that are involved in important work. And the reason that happens is because the work is important to the people doing it, and because it's important, they won't tolerate lies. So think about something that you've done that was important to you. Like I said last time, maybe it has something to do with your kids. Maybe it has something to do, something that was critically important to you. Would you tolerate nonsense, lies, half-truth, fibs? No, you wouldn't, because it's important to you. So the first pillar of the courage economy is engage in important work. Don't do unimportant work. If you find yourself doing work that is something akin to, we just got to keep the trains running on time, then lying often becomes the rational choice, because the work's just not that important. And everybody knows it. And this white lie and this fib and this half-truth and this me jockeying for position over here doesn't really matter, because the work itself doesn't really matter. How many organizations and how many people in corporate are doing unimportant work? I've been around corporate not long enough to know a lot of them. A huge amount of work done in corporate is not important. They may say it's important. They make big hay about how important it is, but all the people doing it know what work is important, and they know what work is not important. Like the time that they were going to say, well, let's make a manager development portal where managers can go and get resources to develop themselves, and everybody chimed in, yeah, it will be great. It'll be like a hub of leadership learning, and leaders will go there and come on. Nobody's going to the leadership portal. These leaders have way too much actual work to do, especially operational leaders. They're actually engaged in crap all day, every day. the thing that kills them is the thing they're going to do first, right? If I don't do this, it'll kill me. Okay, I got to do that. Where does like leadership development fall in their continuum of what they care about? Real low on the ladder, because nothing will happen to them if they don't do it. And everybody knows this, right? So we're going to spend an enormous amount of work, time, energy, and effort to create this development portal and realize that no one will ever use it. Why are we doing this? Hold on a second. Why are we doing it? Well, a lot of reasons we could be doing it. Maybe we're doing it because there's just, maybe we're doing it just because we got to have something to do, right? We're getting paid here. All right, everybody, we're getting paid here. Do something, anything. Maybe it's leader thinks, I have to do something that I can sell to executives that looks like it's really important and cool, and we'll build this thing and I'll show it to them, and the executive be like, wow, really great job. That's amazing. No one cares that nobody actually used it. Nobody cares that a huge amount of time and energy went into creating it. They just care that now we have this thing that we've created. Whatever the reason that the unimportant work was being done, it was unimportant, and everybody knew that it was unimportant. And so the impetus to tell the truth, which is often uncomfortable, that's why we avoid it, is not there. There's no impetus for that. You're simply relying on people's conscience to do good deeds, right? And to do the right thing. And for most people, most of the time, that's enough. But like I said, all the little lies, all the little half-truths add up over time. So important work is the first pillar of the courage economy. Without important work, you can't have a courage economy. And so next time we'll talk about, what work is important? What work's not important? How do I tell if it's important? How do I get people to believe it's important? And we'll talk about that on our journey to create a courage economy. All right. So hit me at LinkedIn, Thane Bellomo. You can hit my Substack at the Courage Economy, or thane.substack.com, or you can get me on my website, bellomoleadership.com. On my Substack, lots of resources and tools to help you build your own courage economy. And we'll see you next time. See you, everybody.